Hello everyone, this is Juan Leon, and this is my presentation on Afghanistan. First off, let me apologize for not being able to use the audio on the PowerPoint. I think I have a version that is a trial version and does not allow me to do that. But this is the flag of Afghanistan. So where in the world is Afghanistan? As you can see, Afghanistan is a landlocked country in Southwest Asia. It is bordered to the west by Iran, the south and the east by Pakistan. There is a small part of Afghanistan which touches China, and then predominantly to the north is the Stan countries, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, and Tajikistan. So, geography of Afghanistan. Here's a relief map of Afghanistan. As you can see, the eastern part of Afghanistan is very mountainous. There actually is one major pass which is called the Khyber Pass, which was used during the Silk Trade and also as predominantly one of the major ways to get from Europe to Asia and vice versa. Afghanistan does receive very, very little amount of precipitation. The precipitation that it does receive is actually in the form of snow in its mountains, and as the warmer weather comes, it does melt and trickle down and bring water to the areas that need it. So, how big is Afghanistan? Here is a map of Afghanistan placed over the eastern side and a little bit of the southern side of the United States. Afghanistan's area is approximately 652,230 square kilometers, which is about 4.5 times the size of New York. Facts about Afghanistan. Well, Afghanistan's population is made up of predominantly 42% Pashtun, 27% Tajiks, 9% Uzbeks, 9% Hazara, and then 13% of their population is mixed, which does include little tribal populations of people. There are some pockets of Buddhism, very small pockets of Christianity, and one Jewish man still residing in Kabul, Afghanistan. So more facts about Afghanistan. Afghanistan is predominantly a Muslim country. As you can see by the chart, 80% of the Muslims there are Sunni Muslims, 19% are Shia Muslims, and that 1% represents other religions, like I mentioned before, Buddhism, Christianity, and Judaism. Other facts about Afghanistan. Here is a map that shows their inflation rate from about 2011 to current. Okay, so starting off in 2011, we see that their inflation rate was approximately 8.47%. It has been taking a drop, and down in around August and September 2012, it was at its lowest point, which was around 4.41%. But since then, it has been steadily increasing, reaching its highest point around August of 2013 at 9.2% inflation rate. Currently, the best data we have available, their inflation rate is approximately 5.3. Current events in facts about Afghanistan. Telephones. Telephones as far as landlines, they have approximately 13,500, and that was a 2012 estimate. Compared to other countries in the world, Afghanistan ranks at about 198, which is very low. Telephones, cellular phones particularly, Afghanistan does make some bigger strides, having 18 million cell phones, and that's a 2012 estimate. Compared to other countries in the world, that ranks them at 55. Internet users, approximately 1 million. That is a 2009 estimate. Compared to other countries in the world, Afghanistan ranks as 101, still very low. Airports. Afghanistan has 52 airports. And of those 52 airports, 23 have paved runways, 29 with unpaved runways, which leaves them at 91%, not 91, but 91 ranking in as far as the world. Roadways, 42,150 kilometers, and of that, approximately 12,000 kilometers paved, 29,000 and some change unpaved. Current events. As we all know, Afghanistan still continues to be a very unstable country. There are troops in there from the United States and other NATO forces. So here is a map that I found. Here's a chart that I found which shows United States troop commitment back in 2002 with about 4,100, and since then it has increased drastically around 2009 and 2010. Capping off in 2011 with 100,000 American troops. Since then, President Barack Obama has been decreasing the troops there in the hopes of a pullout. History, last 10 years. Here we have a picture of the Taliban regime, which are Muslim fundamentalists. And after the United States and NATO forces came into Afghanistan, took them out of power, interim President Hamid Karzai, seen here, was put in as president. What are the market drivers? It's unfortunate to say this, but it is the truth. Afghanistan is the highest producer of opium in the world. Most of their opium fields reside in the southwest, in the Helmand province and the Kandahar province. That continues to be their cash crop. The United States and other countries have tried to introduce other ways to make a living as far as agriculture with apples, fruits, other things that can be sold in market, but unfortunately nothing sells like heroin. Afghanistan's business climate. Afghanistan's GDP, gross domestic product, is $45.3 billion. That's a 2013 estimate. I also want to say that a lot of these statistics are estimated because with a country that's very poor and unstable, literacy rates very low, it's difficult to actually have very, very good statistics like we would in, let's say the United States. But the economy of Afghanistan has improved significantly since the fall of the Taliban regime in 2001, largely because of the infusion of international assistance, the recovery of the agricultural sector, and service sector growth. Despite this progress, Afghanistan is extremely poor, landlocked, and highly dependent on foreign aid. Much of the population continues to suffer from shortages of housing, clean water, electricity, medical care, and jobs. Current politics in Afghanistan. The politics of Afghanistan consists of the Council of Ministers, governors from different provinces, and the National Assembly, with a president serving as the head of state and commander-in-chief of the Afghan armed forces. The nation is currently led by President Hamid Karzai. In the last decade, the politics of Afghanistan have been influenced by NATO countries, particularly the United States. Hamid Karzai was declared the first ever democratically elected head of state in Afghanistan in 2004, winning a second 5-year term in 2009. The National Assembly is Afghanistan's national legislature. It is a bicameral body composed of the House of the People and the House of Elders. So let's take a look at some unique facts about Afghanistan. Fact 1. The new year in Afghanistan, called Nowruz, is celebrated on the 21st of March, which is the first day of spring. Fact number 2. The people of Afghanistan are called Afghans, not Afghanis, which is the currency, and that is a common mistake which happens among people. Fact number 3. Arnold Schwarzenegger is the poster boy for legions of young Afghan men. Photographs of a muscled Arnold in his prime hang from the walls of hundreds of bodybuilding centers across the country. Other unique facts. Mr. Zablon Simonov is an Afghan carpet trader and is believed to be the last remaining Jew in Afghanistan. Simonov says that it is not easy to practice his religion alone. He has obtained special permission from the nearest rabbi in Uzbekistan to slaughter his own meat in line with kosher dietary laws. Simonov lives alone in a small room next to an old synagogue in Kabul and receives donations from Jewish groups abroad, and Simonov has been quoted as saying, "I don't want my Jewish heritage erased. My father was a rabbi. My grandfather was a rabbi." So let's talk about a business crash course in Afghanistan. The languages are Pashto and Dari. The handshake is the most common form of greeting or placing one's hands over their hearts and slightly nodding. Women must always dress properly to avoid unwanted attention. Women should always wear loose-fitting pants under their skirts and be sure the definition of their legs are undistinguishable. It is also strongly advisable to wear a headscarf in public. Gift-giving etiquette. Do not give alcohol. If invited to lunch or dinner, bring fruit, sweets, or pastries. Make sure the box is wrapped nicely. When bringing a gift, do not immediately give the present, but rather discreetly place it near the door or where you sit. Dining etiquette. Do remove your shoes at the door if visiting a home. Wait to be shown where to sit. Food is generally served communally, and everyone will share from the same dish. Do not eat with the left hand. Always pass and receive things using your right hand. Do leave food on your plate, otherwise it will keep getting filled up. Business etiquette. Women must always dress modestly and conservatively. Do have initial meetings to establish trust. Do always make sure you negotiate with the most senior person possible, as they are the decision makers. If monetary matters do not work, as far as negotiation, try pushing the idea that the deal with you would bring prestige, honor, and respect. If working in the country in a non-commercial capacity, then wearing the traditional Afghan dress, which is a long shirt and trousers, is best. As far as the conclusion, there is very little money to be made in Afghanistan, unless you are an opium grower. Afghanistan does have other industries as far as honey and precious stones, since they do have very mountainous terrain. To make any money, I would have to be an exporter, because if you actually look at the charts and see, they have a major deficit as far as trade. Most of their trade is exported and very little is imported. I'm sorry, most of it is imported, but very little is exported except for opium. So as far as resources, if I were to pursue the precious stone business, I would need a labor force, some kind of refinement center, digging tools. As far as risk and rewards, the country continues to be politically very unstable. Life is always at risk. Corruption runs high. And in all honesty, I personally believe that the risk would not be worth the reward. If I was investing in this country, I would try to build a relationship with elders and warlords that control mountains where I need to dig and obtain the precious stones. I would have to invest in a local company, but keep in mind corruption is very high.